All right, hi students. So we're looking at the direct comparison test now. This is section 8.3 in my book, my lecture notes. Direct comparison says if you have something like Bn that converges, like 1 over n to the 5, and then you examine something that is smaller than that, where each term of the sequence is smaller, so we draw like a less than, then that's going to converge as well. On the opposite side of things, if you look at something that diverges and you have something greater than it, so something up is greater, then that's going to diverge. And this makes some sense because the only way to converge is if all your terms are very small or they get very small. So if this thing is converging, all of its terms are getting very small, so they're converging. So what could we say about this one whose terms are even smaller than that? It must converge. And that's called the direct comparison test. So let's see how it's applied. First, let's look at this algebra rule. This algebra rule says that if you take a number and you add something to it, it gets larger. When you add something to it, it gets larger. If you add something to the bottom, though, the denominator, it gets less. So it's opposite. Adding something to the bottom means you're going to be less. So with that in mind, let's look at this example here. Example 5. What we're trying to do is compare this to some sort of series. And right now we're going to work on comparing it with some series that converges. And then we're going to argue that it's less than something that converges. The one we're going to compare it with is this, a geometric series. Now, this is a geometric series, and it's a geometric series with an R of 1/3. And you have to go back and study your geometric series. But when the R is 1/3, it's less than 1, then that's the exact time when the geometric series converges. So it converges. And then this one over here, the one in question, well, that's less than this one. So if this one's converging, of course this one must be converging because it's less, it's smaller. Now, how do we know it's less? Because we're adding something to the bottom, just like I told you here. If you add something to the bottom, you're less. So we add a positive thing to the bottom, you're going to be less.